Alright, so today's job is changing out, well, starting to bench test rotators. So normally, like take a G-450 from Yaesu, you would have a regular controller with a number of wires. So you normally got a ground, and then you've got a go left and a go right. The modern Yaesu rotators are all DC now, okay? So basically it's changing the polarity. Then you've got another couple of wires which will read the potentiometer, so it knows where it's facing. I'm changing all that. Because we've got two stations, and both remote, station 2 might want to change mast or tower 1 and turn it 90 degrees. How are they going to do that? So now the Genius people came up with a bright solution. It's called Rotator Genius. And the heart of it is a box, a little contraption like this. I'll give it an IP address. So this connects to the switch in the coax cabinet and is the brains behind it all. Then what we've got, and we need to power this. So I've prepared a little wire. I have a 24 volt power supply out there for driving both rotators, because the Rotator Genius can do 2 rotators at the same time. So he can be on tower 1, I can be on tower 2, or the other way around, or whatever. Then I've had a hell of a bloody job. I've already measured this out. This goes on the mast, and it's a magnetic sensor. So it reads where the mast is pointing with a load of bloody Ethernet, outdoor Ethernet. And getting it in here, I've got to tell you, it was a pain in the absolute ass. So that'll be sensor 1, and that will plug into like sensor A, if you like. I've already marked the top of this where my supply goes. I've got the rotator over here, and I'm going to take it all outside, and we're going to set it up and just bench test it and see if we can just get it working on the bench. That is the deal today. Okay, this is now about nearly 2 weeks later, actually. Oh, I've had a hell of a problem with this. I've got it all working, and I'll show you how. First of all, you only need 2 wires to control a rotator with the Rotator Genius, because it's a DC motor and it automatically switches left and right. Even though the plug's got 3 connectors, I thought there'd be a ground and a left and a right, but not the case. So Gary at Martin Lynch helped me out. He found a circuit diagram for the GS-2800, which demonstrated we needed pins 5 and 6. And then this is the controller, which we've got all working. I don't know if you see that, 19 volts DC. My problem is that the user guide has got these dip switches on the back, and I wasn't quite sure which was down and which was up, because it's in black and white, even though it's a PDF. But it's not until I took a picture of the back and realised that there's this little bit of writing here, and I had all the dip switches the wrong way around, which means that this here on pins 4 and 5, I need to cut these and shove them in a bit further, are now correct. So anyway, and I've got my 24 volts coming in here. So the 24 volt supply, I had to jumper the mains from one to the other. I forgot. It took me bloody forever. And in the end, I just took this completely off the wall to do the wiring. So there's my 24 volts. I've got its own fuse. Obviously, this needs to shut up because we've got some exposed terminals down here. So that wire comes all the way to here. This one is the sensor on this really springy, nasty wire. This one connects to the switch over there, which goes back to the shack, which allows me to control everything. And finally, yesterday, by pressing the button on the back here, we can now go clockwise and counterclockwise. Now, I don't know if I've done the right thing, but rather than using all the 24 volts, there's a dip switch in here that allows you to do 75% or 50%. So you could have a 12 volt rotator, for instance, because I just felt I didn't need the speed of the 24 volts. If I've got that wrong, let me know, but I've checked that out. It's like the speed controller on the Yaesu rotator. It just changes the voltage. It still sucks the current out. So now we can screw the rotator to the Rotator Genius to the wall over here, because that's set up now. And I've got to come up with a solution of, we've got to swap it out on the tower. But for the time being, now I've got it all working, and apparently pins 4 and 5 work on the G-450 and the 2800. What I might do is find the wiring to the G-450, which is down here somewhere. See if I can identify pins 4 and 5, because this controls 2 rotators. So in the next hour we could get the G-450 remote controllable, because I've got the software actually working. So let me see if we can track down the cable. Gosh, it's been a long time since I've actually done a video out here in the field. I got the mower out the other day. Right, so G-450. I think we will unscrew this completely. Oh, if I can. Gooped it all up in the past. I'll have to get the multimeter out and work out what's pins. It's a bit wet in there. I'm going to make a mess trying to find this. All the cables are going to come up. I don't have a multimeter long enough. I mean, this has got to come. Has it got to come out? I think so. Oh, there it is there. I reckon we can get the 450 on this controller. I'm trying to get that rotator working on that controller now. So when Martin and I put the rails in for the Foursquare look, all the cables went underneath it. So we're having to find a route out here that misses the radials. I've got radials coming out my ears. And I know people are going to say, you should have put conduit in, but the thing is, this is an organic thing. Nothing's ever bloody planned around here. It grows, you see, that's the thing. I had to go in and wash my hands and heat up, because it's only, well, it's very cold right now. There's one join. There's another join. Right, so the rotator cable comes to here. So I just need to identify which is 5 and 6, I think. And if it doesn't work, I can always reconnect it. And I've got to try and work out which pin's which. There's very small writing. Right, I've worked out pins 4 and 5. It's the centre one, and 5 is the one to the left of it. So, red, that's right, and 5 is there, green. We get low out, low A out, low B out. So this is the second rotator. Doesn't matter which way round we can go, because we'll swap them again. There's really shitty wire I've used here anyway. Does that go far enough in? I don't want any shorts. That'll be good enough. Where's my little screwdriver? That was the other thing in the manual. I just couldn't work out if it was a 3-wire system or a 2-wire. And of course, when you ask for support, sometimes you feel like a complete dick when they come back and they go, well, it's just 2 wires. It is a DC motor. You think, yeah, well, I know it is. But, you know, whatever. You shelve your ego and just work out how it works, basically. I don't mind. So we plug this in. And the other thing is, I was trying to measure the output with a multimeter, but I didn't realise it's a pulse mode, you know, it's pulsing DC. So you need to put like a 12 volt, 24 volt bulb, like, you know, I've got them lying around. So in the end, I just had to go for it. Now this sensor click keeps coming out, which is annoying me. So I'll run down the field, plug this into the G450. So this is temporary because this rotator will be used on the second little mast over there. I'll never get that boot around it. I've got to tidy all this up. Right, fingers crossed, if it works, we can get the laptop out here and so we can set the limits, you know, the left and right limits. Oh, bugger me. All right, so let's go counterclockwise. Okay, that's how these bump stops. Go the other way then. It's a bit faster now. I need to change the wiring. I think when I go counterclockwise, it's going clockwise. Right, let's get the, we've got the magnetic sensor to put on. Now, a couple of years ago, I had some aluminium plates made. And I just checked the spec. I mean, I don't know what was going on, but anyway, I've made these little plates, look. And these fit, you know, on the mast. Then we got a little fiberglass pole we can put here. And we got the magnetic sensor, which I'll show you. So this is it, and in fact, as I move it around, it's telling me on the display. Oh, I'll show you in a bit. I haven't got two hands. Well, if I just leave it there, it says 48. And then if I move that, you know, it changes, obviously, direction, you know. What's it do now? 162 or something, whatever. Let's get this bolted on though. Well, on a temporary basis, here's my plate. I was going to use these, but they won't bloody go through. I've got to say, fitting this sensor was a blooming nightmare. You take the sensor apart and take the end off an Ethernet cable, and then you simply bolt in all the wires bar the green one. In fact, it's the green and white, and in the manual, the green and white wires aren't cut off, even though it tells you to be cut off, and they go hiding somewhere around the circuit board. And the other thing is, you've got to take the board completely apart to get the little Ethernet cables in the socket, and that was just, oh God, just a nightmare. You know, it took me an hour, not 5 minutes, you know. Right, one small problem we've got is that the join in this mast, everything here is temporary. The join in this mast sometimes rotates, which means the Yagi is going to be out of sync with this thing. But anyway, we'll put it roughly where we think it should be. That, wrong way. Alright, got no washers here, never mind. We don't need washers. So that's my magnetic sensor. Probably we just go inside actually, can't we? Just operate it from in there. Okay, I've got the camera on the field. All right, so let's just have a look. We'll go counterclockwise. It's only on the G450, look. So that's fine. I've got some presets. So North America, we'll click that. What happens? Because I don't know. Oh, go. North America, go. There we are. All right. Seems to work. Now, the only thing I'm a little bit confused about is, let's go clockwise. I'll show you what my North America is on my compass. It's about Back a bit. It's about, oh, I'm only 5 degrees out. I was about 20 degrees out a minute ago, and that's only 5 degrees out. That should say about 315, 320. Okay, we're nearly there. The only thing I need to do is, and we do that with the settings here, is we configure, we can put the limits. Here we are. At the moment it's 0 to 359, but what I'll do is I'm going to do 180 to 179. And I don't know what the offset means. I will have to look at the manual. But this is quite good, I think. I can just click and hold. Well, I don't need to hold. I can go over the North Pole and start talking to Rolly. Lovely. Okay, well, good. I'm going to live stream in a bit, so I'll hopefully be using that then. But I'm not utterly convinced on that bearing there. Well, that's about right. That's about 40 degrees. You know, compared to the CCT, the camera, the field camera. But there we are. Anyway, let me integrate this and set myself up for a live stream. So that's the Rotator Genius. It's, to be honest, it's been a complete saga. And I've got to say, fitting the Ethernet cable, which is not used for Ethernet, it's just for use for the compass data. But fitting the Ethernet cable to the little device was a blooming nightmare. You have to take the whole thing apart. You cannot get to the little connectors without taking it apart. But there we are. So we've got the G-450, and this will be mast 2. And then we've got the 2800, which will go in this. And of course, that'll be much taller. So we're going to 60-foot mast, and then we're going to put a signature 9 on the top, and we'll have top band vertical. There we are. That's the plan. All right. It's been a blooming nightmare, but I've cracked it all now. So if you ever come across Rotator Genius with a DC controlled supply, shout and I will respond appropriately, because I worked it all out now, particularly the Yaesu style. All right, all the best. Enjoy your radio. See you next time. Bye for now.